Hello and welcome to Dami Tries This. Hope you brought your cuppa. Today's cup is You've Cat to Be Kitten Me Right Meow. I love cats. We own 4 of them. Only supposed to have 2, so. But we have our X-Men kitties, Gambit, Shadowcat Pride, and Rogue. And we have a cat that we took in from one of my daughters who we never could give her an X-Men name, so she's just Sora. Anyway, this mug was given to me by my husband because of my love of cats. And today's tea, chocolate hazelnut. It is one of my favorites, absolute favorites from Stash. You put in enough milk and sugar and it tastes like chocolate. It's absolutely delicious and worth a second sip. So good. So good. Anyway, so today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about brands that I hope to try, I want to say this year, but unfortunately, funds may not allow that. So we're going to go with sometime soon. And I hope to do one next year, and anything I haven't tried will hopefully get rolled over into that. And also, I'm going to talk about a sort of a pan project thing. Basically going to try to use certain products a little more, and some of them it is specifically to use them up or get rid of them, and others it's just to use them because I haven't been using them as much as I should. If you haven't seen the video on palettes I should use more, I will link that down below for you. I will say that I can't put anything up in the corner. I tested this out with my software a couple of days ago and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. So let's get started. This is going to be a little different, a little new. I have all my notes on my phone. Yay. We'll get started. So our first brand that I want to try is Curvy. Curvy is indie and cruelty free, and I first heard of them on Instagram and started following them. I liked some of the stuff I saw, the pretty palettes, and then I went and checked them out. And I really like their story. Curvy was started by a gentleman who went to get some stuff for his wife from the store, including some makeup. And he saw how expensive it was, and he wanted to make a more affordable but good quality makeup for her. And I thought that that was kind of neat. I haven't purchased at this point because the cost is in the upper drugstore area, and my upper drugstore area type makeup that I normally buy from is NYX. My other online store of choice is Sephora, and that's for my high-end stuff. So I just haven't really gotten over there and really picked anything out that I'm going to actually sink some money into and to try. But of the stuff that I've seen, I would really like to try their Unicorn Dreams. I know, unicorns. I used to love unicorns as a kid. I still love unicorns, just not as much as dragons. And I agree that the unicorn theme seems to be a bit overdone right now, but the colors in that palette are just so pretty. Another one I've thought about is their newest, is the Posh palette, which has a lot of browns in it, so it probably wouldn't be my first purchase, but it is a gorgeous palette, so I am definitely really interested in it, and it looks really good. So Curvy is the first on my list that I would like to try. I'm trying not to look down too much, but I do have to look at my notes, and I need to wipe things out so that I can see where I'm at. I hope I'm not too distracting with it. Also, still working on that camera angle. Another one I want to try is ColourPop, and also indie, also cruelty-free. Who hasn't heard of ColourPop? I think I heard of them first in regards to their concealers, but I never thought it would be a good idea to purchase one concealer, pay the shipping on the concealer, and not even know if the concealer was the right color for me. However, the thing that got me more interested recently was the Super Shock shadows. I am really interested in trying some of the Super Shock shadows. And I'm hearing more about the lippy sticks, and I'm hearing from members of a group I'm in that we talk about Ipsy. We talk about a lot of makeup, but it's primarily supposed to be for Ipsy. That the lipsticks that they have are really, really good. So I'm really interested in trying both of those. With the color shocks, I think I'd have to be careful because a lot of those seem to be on the brown and gold side. And while I like gold, I would want to avoid the browns. So if I did that, I probably wouldn't buy a set. I'd probably be more interested in purchasing one or two to try with a couple lipsticks at once. The thing with ColourPop is fortunately that they're inexpensive. So hopefully I can come up with some extra money and go ahead and pick them up at some point soon. The third brand I would like to try is Colored Rain. And there was a point where I started looking for more companies that were owned, started by, run by people of color. And Colored Rain was one of the ones that actually came up in that search, probably one of the top ones. It's been a little while, and I have ADHD and anemia, and they don't react well, so my memory can be pretty bad sometimes. I always say I have a 5-minute memory lifespan, so I don't remember things. One of the reasons I haven't tried them is because they're a bit more expensive, and it may sound weird, but I am really trying to limit the number of high-end or close to high-end brands that I feel the need to buy from. It's one of the reasons why I haven't tried Anastasia Beverly Hills other than in a box, and other brands that can be found on Sephora that I'm very cautious with. I like Urban Decay. I liked Tarte for a while. I still like Tarte products. I'm just not supporting them. But I just don't want to have a whole lot of expensive brands to purchase from when there is equally good, more affordable makeup out there. And so to avoid that problem, I just don't try them. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't try Colored Rain. Actually, it's probably the main reason I didn't try Colored Rain. But now that Tarte's out, I have room for a more expensive brand. I'd probably like to try the Lovelies or the Queen of Hearts palette. Apparently the Queen of Hearts is like the cult favorite. It gets sold out very quickly. So yeah, one of those two. I think I'd probably go with the Lovelies first, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, another brand I want to try is Juvia's Place. They are indie and cruelty-free. They came up in the same search as Colored Rain. A couple of these actually did. I have to say, when I initially saw, this was last year, early last year, when I initially saw the palettes and the setup of Juvia's Place, I wasn't really drawn in by the first couple of palettes I saw. Colors looked reasonable, but I don't know. I was more intrigued by the packaging than the actual cosmetics, the actual colors and makeup itself. I've heard recently, now they're still on my list, and I probably want to pick up one palette at least to give them a try. But I've recently heard a couple of things that makes me a little less likely to purchase from them. For one, I've heard that they reuse colors or put in a lot of similar colors. That, considering their brand and their packaging showing where they're coming from, I can kind of understand that, but that makes me less likely to buy more than one palette anyway. I mean, I would think if you want your customers to keep coming back, if you want to generate interest, you would try to bring out new colors instead of reusing old colors or making the new colors close to the old colors, if that makes sense. And I have noticed that a lot of the palettes have a mustard yellow, and a lot of the palettes have a lot of browns and things of that nature. Not too different from other brands. So it's not a huge deal. So I probably would have to just really go through and pick the palette carefully. Always open to recommendations. Feel free to comment below with a recommendation if you've tried Juvia's Place. But the other thing that I've heard is some issues with customer service and some issues with how they respond sometimes to smaller YouTubers contacting them about being affiliates and getting affiliate codes and things like that. Now, the whole thing with the affiliate codes, whatever. I don't think I'll get an affiliate ever. It'll be a long time, if ever. So that doesn't particularly affect me. But I do think a company needs to be polite to the people that are trying to work with it. I do think a company needs to be responsive to its customers. And from what I've heard about Colored Rain, I do have some concerns about that. But at the same time, one, I should go on my own experience with at least one attempt to see how their customer service is, if I have any need of customer service. And two, when we're talking about just trying a brand, it doesn't mean I'm just going to go and buy every single palette. So I think that if I could pick a palette and just one palette, then I could say I tried them, and if I like them, then I could see if I want to pick other palettes and go from there and use my own experiences to determine whether or not I will continue to support the brand. In trying to pick a palette, I'm trying to figure out which of the following three I'm more interested in, and that would be the Magic palette and the Nubian 2 and the Saharan 2. The Masquerade, I know, has been a big deal lately, I think. I think that's the one that's been a really big deal of late. And to me, it's only interesting because of the blues that are in there. If you put your hand over the blues, there are just too many browns to make it a good choice for me. So I would probably pass on that, but I do need to look at the other three and make a decision about those, and figure out one that I want to try. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I think they just recently came off of a sale, a really good sale of like 40% or something like that. And I just didn't have the money, and I just didn't want to have to go in there and try to pick anything. But at any time that would have been a good time to go through those palettes and decide on one, that would have been the time, because then I could have said, yes, this is the one I would be happy to pay for. And I just haven't done it, and I probably should take a look again at some point in the future. If you have an opinion on any of those palettes, I would love to hear it. Our next brand is Sugar Pill. Sugar Pill is also indie and cruelty-free. In fact, most of these are indie and cruelty-free. I think I've got 3 on the list that I don't know what they are in one case or the other. And in one of them, I don't know in both. 2 of them. Anyway, I know Sugar Pill is one of those things that a lot of people have liked. But I actually only recently heard about it on YouTube. The first person I think I heard talking about them was Makeup Struggles. I will link her down below. She's hilarious. I love her. She's so real and so open, but beware, there is language. But first I heard from her, and then Spooky Lips and Fat Hips did a couple of Sugar Pill hauls, I think. It was 1 or 2. I know there was 1 for sure. But she went through and she got the palette and she bought her colors and she showed them off. And they look gorgeous. Gorgeous. The only thing that would make me hesitate to buy from them at this point is the cost. Between the one palette that they have and the colors, you're looking at $120. I don't spend $120 on one palette. So, I'm not sure that this is going to be a brand that I will get to try anytime soon, but I'm hoping to try them at some point. I think my biggest problem with trying them, will be picking things out. With my ADHD, it can be very overwhelming to have a lot of choices, and they have a lot of choices. Even if I cut it down to just shimmers, still a lot of choices. I've taken a look around, and I think I've found 3 or 4 that I'm interested in, and I would get them in the loose pans and probably buy a different palette to hold them in, just because of the cost, just because, you know, that's a lot of money. They're really expensive. Next on my list is Makeup Monster, and they're indie and cruelty-free. I heard of them on YouTube through, I think it was Beauty News, who I'll link down below. They're my favorite Australians. They posted a black and white, I think it was them. They posted a black and white of a palette that Makeup Monster is working on called Dragon Child, I believe. And if you've got dragon in the title, I am there. I am there. I haven't purchased from them because they are primarily, at this point, lipsticks, as I recall. And I've just heard of them, like in the last month or so. So any future purchases from that company would really depend on how well that they did that particular palette. So that palette is what I'm waiting for. That palette is the one that I would want to buy from them. Just waiting for it to actually come out and to see it and see how well it goes. And if it's a good palette, I might end up being interested in their lipsticks. Thing is I enjoy NYX's lipsticks. I enjoy a number of Maybelline lipsticks. So I am not really looking for a company to give me a lot of lipsticks. So yeah, everything would really depend on how that palette went and whether or not they would come out with more palettes. But the Dragon Child, dragons, I'm there. So another company that I would like to try is Profusion. I heard of them through one of my makeup boxes. They had put a brow pencil in my Yes Oh Yes box. And I had been trying a couple of other brow pencils from the drugstore and all that, and I haven't liked them. They've been ashy and they don't give me a lot of color. But the Profusion pencil was really good, and it gave me a lot of color, and it wasn't ashy. The color was slightly off because I have pretty dark hair, and theirs was more of a warm, almost an auburn brown on the pencil. But it still works for my eyes, and it's creamy and smooth, and I have practically used it to death. Unfortunately, they don't have the pencil available by itself. But that pencil got me looking for them on Instagram and online, and I saw that they had some other interesting things. Again, it's a new brand that I just discovered, so I haven't really had a chance to go and buy anything, especially now that I'm on a low and a no buy. But I am interested in their Flawless Luxe Eye Makeup Kit, and I'm calling it a kit. They say it's a palette. It has 48 eyeshadows that are across the spectrum, so it's not all browns and it's not all colors. It goes from pink to black, and it's a beautiful setup. It has 5 eyeliners, it has an eyebrow pencil, it includes brushes, mascara, and a sharpener. And at $20, it seems like a really good deal. And if the palette works as well as the eyebrow pencil that I tried, then I'd be willing to buy more of their things. So I've tried them. I want to try more of them to see if I'm interested in any of their other cosmetics. Another one that I would like to try is Tattoo Junkie. Now, I don't know if they're indie. I think they are, but I'm not positive. But they are cruelty-free. I actually saw them on an Instagram ad. And, you know, they have on Instagram, they have those sponsored posts. and that's where I found them. And I scrolled through their feed, liked what I saw, and went ahead and subscribed to that. The ad that I saw, though, was interesting in that it was one of their lipstick kits. And their lipstick kits have a lipstick, and then they have a glitter or a transformer type thing that goes over it. And I was just really fascinated by that. And I think that that's, I know earlier I said I'm not interested in getting a whole lot of lipsticks. I have my lipstick companies, but that actually, I do a lot of blending of lipsticks on my own, and I really liked what I saw on what they did. So that has actually piqued my interest, because that's actually something that I already do, is a lot of the blending and changing the colors and things like that. And their kits are specifically to do that. So I would be really interested in trying one of their kits at some point and seeing if I like it. And finally, I have a nail thing. I would like to try Les Mini Macarons. I don't know if they're indie. I don't know if they're cruelty-free. They have a couple of gel sets, basically, with a little... It's specifically for gel nail polish, essentially. And you can put your hands in it, and the way theirs is shaped is like a little macaron cookie. And I just think it looks so cute. They just recently came out with a larger version that you can put more than one finger in. The little one you can only put one finger in at a time. And I am really interested in buying that, especially since I wear my nail polish and I do my dishes, and then my nail polish is getting destroyed. I hear that the gel polishes actually last longer. And like I said, this is just really cute. Haven't purchased from them because I just heard of them like in the last few weeks. But I am really, really, really interested in that. And I think if I did that, though, I would want to get the bigger one. So I'm going to wait for reviews, because they just came out with the larger version that you can put all your fingers in. And I would want to see how people enjoyed it before I sank $60 into it. And I've been told by others that there are less expensive brands that have that kind of thing. But it's just really cute. It probably would be more prudent to buy one of the smaller sets and just be happy that I got a little macaron. But the way I do my nails takes a long time, so I would like something to speed that process up. And being able to put all of my fingers in there to take care of my nail polish would actually be better for me in the short term, and being able to do my nails quicker. Anyway, now that I've fumbled through all that, those are the brands that I would like to try, hopefully this year, but if not, sometime soon. What are some brands that you would like to try? I'd love to hear it. What are your thoughts on the brands that I would like to try? Again, would love to hear it. Moving right along, let's move on to what is going to be my pan project. And it ties into something I said earlier about no longer buying from Tarte. So this year, I've been seeing a lot of pan project videos. I don't know who started them, but I've seen a few of them out. One of the girls in the beauty news does a pan project. I'm not sure about the other one. A lot of that is too much for me in a way. Using up this foundation, using up this blush, using up... I honestly don't see myself being able to actually pan a whole lot of those things. However, I would like to start removing most of the Tarte items out of my collection. And I don't want to get rid of them per se. Spent good money on them. I have one that I'm going to be showing you was a gift. I would much rather use it than throw it out or give it away. So I'm going to be focusing on trying to use up my Tarte as much as possible this year. That includes the large Christmas treasure box collection, a smaller palette that went with that called the Buried Treasure eyeshadow palette. I have 2 Tarte blushes. I have a Tarte eyebrow gel, and I have one of their mascaras, and I have a couple of their liquid lipsticks, as well as a palette. So I have 2 palettes that I'm going to try to focus on for at least the next couple of months. One of them is from Tarte, and I'm going to be working on getting rid of some of that Tarte. I don't think I'll get through the treasure box and the blushes. I think I can finish the eyebrow gel, the mascara, maybe get through the Buried Treasure palette, or at least hit pan on it. We'll have to see. Anyway, the 2 that I'm going to be focusing on now for the next couple months, and what I mean by that is I don't necessarily have to use them every day, but I'd like to use them enough, if not by themselves, then in conjunction with other palettes, which is what I did today, and with each other, that I do start to make a dent in them. And the first one is the Tarte, I don't remember what this is, the Tarte Energy Noir palette. This was the palette that my daughter got me that got me introduced to high-end brands. Oh, I didn't realize I had a hole in my blush. Anyway, it has 8 eyeshadows and 9 eyeshadows and 1 blush. Now, some of these I don't use. There's 2 or 3 mattes in here that I don't use at all, and a couple that I only use a little bit. The palette is very pretty, but as you can see, there's some colors. That's from that first row. And this color here, this kind of purpley gray shimmer, actually shows up better than it does on my hand when I'm using it. But as you can see, it's a lot of browns. There's a nice pinkish tone and a mauve tone and a purplish tone in here, but the rest of them are pretty much browns. The blush, I'm actually wearing it today, is a nice naturalish color for me. I don't know if you're going to see that on the top. Nope. Well, kind of. It's got kind of an orangey, pinkish cast to it. So it gives me kind of a natural color that works. But I stopped using this for a while because of all those browns. So my goal is to start working through this. You can see some of the colors actually have gotten some love. This light one here. You can't really see it, but these here have actually gotten a little love. This one up here has gotten a little love. And the blush is actually, I've used on and off. But I'm going to try to make a concerted effort to start getting through this. Pulling in a palette from my palettes I should use more video. And that is the NYX California palette. This palette is actually very, very pretty. It comes with, whoa, it wants to fall out now. Comes with this loose thing that has the colors named on them. The colors are kind of lightish and pastel-y, but they are colored, and that's one of the things I like about them. I love this gold. And this green is beautiful. There's the green. There's the gold. Now that gold does show up better on my eyes with primer than it's showing up right there in the green. It has a beautiful kind of a rosy color that's not quite a shimmer, but not quite a matte. another color I really like. But because it is lighter, because honestly, the pigmentation sort of works, but it's not, obviously not any of the best. I just haven't picked it up. So these two, I'm wearing them on my eyes today, and I know that's hard to see with the, I used the lightest shade from the Tarte, and then I've got, I also used a little of my Huda Obsessions electric palette, so that's in the middle, but the gold is on top. I've got some purpley reds in here. But yes, I used both of these today, and I used a little of my Huda, but this is going to be my focus for the next couple months. I will be mixing in other palettes with them because I think they need them. This is too pastel-y, I think, for me to use on its own entirely. It would get lost behind my glasses, and this one is too brown. Together they work well, but I kind of need other color in there to actually get things to show up better. So we will see if I actually manage to, one, stick with that, because those two palettes will be a challenge, and two, if I actually do manage to make a dent. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I kind of wanted to get that out of the way, and didn't want to have my favorites, or not my favorites, my brands I wanted to try to come too late in the year, and we're already in February. Where did the time go? So next video will be either a box that's come in, I don't know if anybody's going to come in, or more than likely it is going to be the Mario Badescu skincare regimen that I showed you guys the box coming in a while back, and I will be telling you how that worked out. I hope you've enjoyed our sit down, and sorry if this was a little more awkward than usual. I've been getting better, and I'm working on it, and I'm still working on seeing the frickin' camera. Face the camera. Look at you. It's not that I don't want to look at you, it's that I forget where to look. Anyway, I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for coming by. I hope you subscribe, click the bell, and we'll see you later.